We're Susan and Mel Finlay, National Directors of Nation at Prayer. This month, we've been talking with leaders across Canada about the impact of prayer in the life of our nation.
Today, we're talking with Dr. David Overholt. Dave is the founding pastor of Church on the Rock, one of the largest youth-targeted churches in North America. He is adjunct professor of youth and family ministries, author of 4 books, and has an international speaking and consulting ministry, speaking to thousands of young people each year. Welcome, Dave.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Well,
it really is. Thank you.
With the incidents of gun violence across the nation, our viewers are understandably concerned about what's happening with society, and particularly with our young people. What would you say about that?
Yeah, it was a horrible story, wasn't it? How this young man caused so much pain in so many other people's lives. I don't know about how disturbed he was, but I do know a couple things. I do know, since he is a young person, that he's in this time in his life where he's trying to discover who he is. He's trying to take on his values. He's trying to find out his identity. And the second thing I know, that what his society has been feeding him are these empty shell values, this meaninglessness. And I have been working with teenagers for 30 years, and this continuous sort of layer after layer of meaninglessness has been sort of the base of so many suicides and so many hurt lives across North America.
Now, you've just been part of a major study across Canada on youth. Can you highlight a couple of the major findings?
Yeah, there's some exciting things happening in Canada as far as having studies about our young people. And the Evangelical Fellowship of Canada has sponsored one of them. And what they asked at, why are young people leaving the church? And the disturbing finding was that if you grew up in the church in Canada, including all denominations, there are 70% of our students will leave the church. 70%.
Wow.
Yeah, and not just leave the church. They're leaving to become agnostics and atheists, and we're assuming they're going to come back with their kids, but they're not. Yeah. And so we sort of got punched in the stomach about this one. And so we asked the question, well, why are they leaving? And why are some staying? And it was interesting. It was sort of the answer was sort of on the same answer of two sides of the same coin. And a couple of the answers were our families. Our families. If a student grew up in a home where faith was modeled, it was talked about, they prayed together as a family, not just around mealtime, just throughout their lives. They talked about what they learned in the scriptures. They did ministry to the poor together. If they modeled that lifestyle, there's much more likely that a student will come and stay in a local church and grow in their faith. But a lot of students found out that it was just very sort of a shell layer. People would go to church, but it wasn't a lifestyle. So that was one of the major findings. Another one was the whole idea of a vibrant community. If the church was doing the same thing, was modeling faith. I grew up in a church like that. I had this elderly lady. She's probably about 80. I'm not sure if you can say elderly at 80 yet.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, I know. But she would come up and latch onto my arm and said, "You have to walk me to the car, Dave." Okay. But on the way, she would pray for me and talk about who she talked to her, witnessed her faith. She had a profound effect on me. And those kind of vibrant communities, they don't have to be large. They don't have to even have a young vibe to them. But a live faith gets caught by this generation.
Oh, Dave, that really gives viewers hope, because it doesn't matter what size of church you're in, what age you are. Your church has really simplified how you're approaching ministry. What are the 3 or 4 ways you're doing that, and how have you incorporated prayer?
Yeah, we realize that young people think that something is true or untrue, whether they've experienced it or not. So they don't sort of look down at the philosophical level. They say, does it work? Yeah. And so we are trying to answer that question for them. So every week we're getting stories up front about how faith works. And we're getting not just stories, but we are getting people to work out their faith together. For instance, we have a simple principle in my church to stop, drop, and pray. So,
That's great.
So the idea, if somebody says, wow, I've got this burden, and we usually say, I'll pray for you. Not allowed in my church.
Yes.
We'll pray for you now. And we pray together now. And the students see that as prayer as a live and vibrant part of the community.
That's such an important thing. What you're talking about really is living one's faith and living in community as people of faith, so that people see modeled what's important in life and gives them something to work toward.
Yeah. Modeling, I believe, is the greatest form of unconscious learning, and it's the thing that gets and changes lives.
Yeah. Well, Dave, this has been such a great opportunity for us, and I know it will be encouraging for many of our viewers. At the same time, it's a conversation that needs to go on again. So we'll look forward to another opportunity to talk with you. It may not be us, but Huntley Street will certainly have you back, and we'll look forward to another opportunity. So bless you in the ministry that you're undertaking. Bless the people in your church, and thank you so much for the time that you've spent with us this morning.
It's a great privilege.